Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to talk to a professor, how to interact with them, how to meet with them, these type of things. Some of our feedback are that some students are confused and intimidated by professors. So with this talk I'm hoping to show you the proper way to interact with a professor. So first of all, your interaction with a professor is always formal. So this is, you may certainly be friendly with a professor, but just so you know that interaction with them, emails, telephone calls, office hour visits, talking in class, this is always a formal affair. So with the university system and a professor, professors are there to guide you, and they're also there to help to advance in society, if you will. So this, and in the upper classes and the middle classes, interactions between people in business is formal. So corporate America, this is formal, and this is your training. This is how to interact. So interact with them formally. Keep that in mind. So with that is your professor's title. So typically you call the professor by doctor or professor. So just so you understand, doctor is a title for someone who has a PhD. So, and doctor, if you wonder, like doctor with medical doctor, actually the PhD predates the doctor, the medical doctor term. So, like Martin Luther, he had a PhD in theology, and he was called Dr. Luther. The title doctor was considered to be a reverend doctor. So a professor, what is a professor title? Professor means that the person has been tenured. So after someone is tenured, you can call that person professor. So actually, professor is a higher title than doctor. So of the titles, professor is higher than doctor. So maybe you've heard this in German, Herr Doktor Professor, so Mr. Doctor Professor, and then always increasing in terms of the height of the title. So Mr. is the lowest title, Doctor is slightly higher, Professor is the highest. Other higher titles, yes. You can have Sir, that's for someone who's a knight, but you don't interact with many knights, at least I don't on a daily basis. So there are, of course, higher titles than professor, but professor is a relatively high title, and it's earned by being tenured. So if you want to follow the rules, actually for a non-tenured faculty member or a part-time and adjunct faculty member, you are not supposed to use the title professor with them, although frequently that is used anyways. So the best way to go actually is to call someone professor. And different schools have different rules and different general trends. So for instance, here at the University of Hawaii, at least on the Manoa campus, doctor is customary. My undergraduate, University of Dayton, doctor was customary rather than professor. My grad school, Berkeley, professor was customary. So it tends to be the higher, like Ivy League type schools tend to go professor. But like I said before, professor is a higher title. How do you know if someone is a doctor or if someone has a PhD or not? Typically, if you look at their name and there's comma PhD after that person's name, then that person has a PhD. So that's one way. If it's uncustomary or you don't feel comfortable calling someone professor, that's how you can find out if the person is doctor. Like if the person is an adjunct, for instance, and you. So tenured. Also, you can tell by ranks. So typically speaking, assistant professor is non-tenured. Associate professor, and if something says professor, that also is referred to as a full professor. The associate professor and the full professor, those are tenured positions. Different institutions, for instance, the community colleges here at the University of Hawaii, for a community college faculty member, if he has the title assistant professor, then he is tenured, or he or she is tenured, and then it could be appropriate to use the title professor. Also, in general, do not use Mr. or Miss. I know that's a common thing here in Hawaii, like in terms of grade school, like, hey Mr., hey Miss, look at this. Don't do that in the university. So that's improper. So it's better to use the title professor. In general, though, I mean, because you're here at school and we're trying to raise your class, so trying to get you into the upper middle or upper class. So you should ditch the word "Hey Miss," "Hey Mister." Go with "Pardon me, Doctor," "Pardon me, Professor." That is much more formal, and that's a better type of interaction. For first names, it's only if the faculty member initiates first name with you. You do not start out with the first name unless it's with the indication of the faculty member. In fact, actually, the faculty member can call you by your first name, and you still should be formal with him or her. So that is the proper way to do it. So hopefully that understands the title. Let's talk about written communication. So whatever it is you're writing, letter, email, always use letter format. So what I mean is, don't act like this is a text message. So if you are texting with your professor, then that would be okay. But in an email, if you're writing an email or writing a letter, do not write LOL, IDK for I don't know, these types of abbreviations. Do not use those in any sort of communication with them. Do not use pidgin. So use proper English. It's important that you use proper English and that you write with a letter format, meaning give the salutation. So, dear Dr. Ferguson, comma, enter space, I'm feeling ill today and I will not make it to class, period. What can I do to make up this class period, period, sincerely, Joseph. So these type of things. So it's important that you interact with them properly. Also, do not use curse words. So do not use any type of curse words in your interactions with them in both spoken and written communication, especially written communication. Sometimes accidentally one slips out. That's okay. That's every once in a while. Try not to do so much of disturbance, but definitely do not write a curse word. There is nothing that says that I am. So you might as well hold up a sign saying, "I have no elegance to me whatsoever," if you write down curse words in formal interaction. So let's talk about a meeting. So if you meet with a professor and you want to see them, the most preferred time is office hours. So you should go to office hours because professors have other things they have to do. It's not just teach. It's at least for full-time faculty. Adjunct. Also, the other thing with adjunct faculty, they don't get paid as much as a full-time faculty member. So frequently they have to go to another job. So office hours is the allotted time to meet with the faculty members. So if you can't make it, then make an appointment. Don't go searching in the faculty member's lab for him or her. Don't scour the campus and you want to have a talk with them. I mean, if there's an emergency or somebody needs something quickly, that's okay. But if you want to have a meeting, the best time is the faculty members' office hours. Also, dress appropriately. And I mean, seasoned teachers have had this happen frequently. I've had students show up and try to be dress scantily, especially if the student wants something. I've noticed students will come and they will wear inappropriate clothing. Of course, and it depends on where the school is. So for Hawaii here, shorts and slippers is acceptable. That's fine. It's not exactly elegant, but it's commonplace for the dress code of Hawaii. If you're on the mainland, do not do that. So the rules on the mainland are much different than the rules in Hawaii. Do not show up to meet with a professor dressed like that. The professor, you'll probably upset the professor a little bit. Like it's your way of saying this meeting does not mean very much to me. And my impression of your impression of me, it does not matter to me. That's what you're communicating with your clothing. And also the other way, if you try to be to dress in a sexy manner, especially if you put on perfume or something like that, then you're just going to make the faculty member uncomfortable. I mean, students, of course, they do that. Like, oh, I need to worry about the test. I know. I will dress very sexily and put on my awesome smelling perfume, and then I will melt my professor's heart. He will tell me everything that's on the test. No, he won't. Of course not. That would break many rules of conduct to do that, and you're just going to make us uncomfortable, and then we have to ignore the fact that you're acting this way. That's the safest bet for a faculty member, is just to play dumb. In the back of our mind, we know what you're doing, so just don't do that. Okay. Also, what else don't you do? Do not use your cell phone. This is not time to start texting. So let's say you do use your cell phone, that is an indication to the professor that you don't really care about his time. That's the way that we will take that. So don't use your cell phone, meaning don't text, don't play games, don't talk on your cell phone. If you're waiting to meet with if there's a line or something like that, then it's okay, just as long as it doesn't make noise. So, like if you're meeting and there's three people ahead of you, yeah, it's okay to text your friends, to check your email, play Angry Birds. That's fine. Just make sure the sound is off and you don't disturb anyone. So remember, this is a formal interaction. And also, when you meet with a faculty member, do not threaten them. So do not threaten them in a physical way. Do not threaten them in a social sort of a way. So especially in this day and age, if you do that, you're likely to get campus security called on you, and you might face further sanctions. So intimidation is not a good idea to do to a faculty member. So that will get you in much, much worse questions, or much, much worse trouble. It's not worth it. And then you put the faculty member in an uncomfortable situation. Also, don't ask questions that are easily found in the syllabus. So due dates. I mean, it's okay to ask it in passing, but if you sit down, go to an office hour meeting, like, okay, when's the next test? In general, we have it written down for you in the syllabus. So asking questions that are so easily found, that also says, okay, well, the student, what that is indicating is this student doesn't know how to read a piece of paper and find the information himself or herself. So, and why is that important? Why do I care what my faculty member thinks about me? I'm going to jump ahead here. Because you will probably ask faculty members for letters of recommendation. And if you are continually asking stupid questions, and this would count, this right here would be a stupid question. If you ask these stupid questions over and over again, the professor, in rating you for letters of recommendation, that is very likely that will show up in your recommendation. So the student does not know how to follow directions, because it's important as a faculty member that we're honest in those recommendations, and other schools and organizations rely on us to be honest. So keep that in mind when you're asking questions. So, I mean, if you are confused about class, so a stupid question for class, that's not really, if you have trouble with something, that's okay. Because if you're coming to be tutored in an office hour, it's okay to ask simple questions about the material, because you're not expected to know everything. You take the class to get the knowledge. That's the point of the interaction. We're supposed to teach you. So not having all the knowledge is okay, and not understanding the material, that's okay. And the fact that you're coming to office hours is proving to the professor that you care about this, and that you haven't, and then you're trying to overcome it, and that's a good thing. And so that will actually be a positive thing in your letter of recommendation. And don't feel dumb if you're asking a material question that it's obvious, because I mean that happens all the time. I mean when someone is learning something, I mean, and the little things can hang you up, and they can kind of and they can slow down the process. So no, that's okay. But the stupid question is something like when is the final? How much is the final worth? How much is this test worth? That's in the syllabus. At least it should be. So also, so moving on. If you are not alone in the office, don't carry on in the conversation. Don't start talking about the weekend. This is a formal interaction. Remember, this is a formal interaction, and the last thing you want to do is to divide the professor's attention and away from another student and the other student's attention. So when you're there in the office, don't start chatting to someone else. Also, when you're acting with them, this kind of goes with intimidation. Don't attempt to do peer pressure. So because, to be perfectly honest, the faculty member is not your peer. The faculty member, by design, the university is above you in status. So it is important that so if you try peer pressure to him, I mean, you're just going to anger the faculty member, make him uncomfortable or her uncomfortable. Also, it's not okay to whine about your grades or workload. Like, I didn't do very well. I don't understand why I didn't. I mean, maybe a comment would be okay, especially if you're looking for advice. If you say, I've been getting great grades until I've taken this class, and suddenly I go from an A student to a D student, and if you say, I'm approaching you on this because obviously there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the way I'm studying. So notice that the attention is coming back on the student, not on the faculty member. Like, I'm an A student, I didn't get an A, and there's something wrong with you. That is not the proper way to interact with a faculty member. It's important that the faculty member is there to help you. And also, classes, there's a lot of effort put into classes with faculty members to make sure that they're at the right level of difficulty. So if you come and complain about the difficulty level, that's you're just basically you're wasting the faculty member's time. And again, he'll remember that, and that can also come to effect later. I mean, because sometimes students are borderline between grades, and sometimes professors will bump people up or down, and if you are remembered as someone who's whining about your grades, it's a good chance you will be bumped down rather than being bumped up. So if you come to the office hours and you're doing really, really well, or if you're stuck and you're between a B and an A, the professor might bump you up to an A, because like, oh, this student tried really hard and there was great improvement. That maybe I could round this grade up a little bit. So professors have been known to do that, and so this is how you get on their good side, and also on a controversy, how to not get on their bad side. Also, workload. Everyone's busy. Okay, everyone has things going on, and in his or her respective lives. So whining about workload, that's not really the faculty member's issue. Then again, if you're asking for help, like saying, I have so much going on, I don't know what to do, then the faculty member can counsel you or refer you for counseling. That's okay. Faculty members are a good place to start for something like that with school services. But complain about workload, that's just going to waste your time. In class, too, if you complain about it in class, that's unacceptable. Generally speaking, if you want to contact your professor, the best way to do is email. Email is typically the easiest. It's the faculty member will get back to you at his or her leisure, and it's a surefire way that the person has gotten that you actually have contact with them. So some other things to think. Faculty members, we're human. I know that I'm talking. It's important that I stress that as a formal interactions and things what to do. But I mean, I still keep in contact with some of my faculty members. So my PhD advisor, I send him a Christmas card every year. Same thing with my mentor in undergraduate school. I send him a Christmas card. When I'm in town, I go visit them. So I mean, you can build long-lasting relationships with faculty members. And also, faculty members are great contacts to have. We're very networked. So, and also, I've noticed for myself as a faculty member, whenever I ask somebody for help, they usually go out of their way to help me. So if I call somebody and say, hello, I am a faculty member of the University of Hawaii, I need help with this, there is a very good chance that person will help me out. So because of that, we're very connected. So, and people like helping us. So a faculty member is a powerful ally to have. And that's why it's important that you're formal with them too. So, and if you're formal with a faculty member, then the faculty member knows that you will have proper etiquette when you go out into some other situations. So this is different than having a hot dog stand in the corner or a snorkel shop. And in that case, informal is a better way to go. So business for a small business in Hawaii, it's better to talk in pidgin because that identifies you as a local. But for a faculty member, it's important. There's a sociological reason for you to speak and properly and behave in a certain manner. This is the etiquette we're talking about. But like I said before, we are humans. We're human beings, and if something happens, be honest. Be honest with your faculty member, and if you need help. I mean, it's like, listen, my grandmother is sick and dying. I don't know when she's going to die, but my mother's busy taking care of her, and I have to babysit my little brother. I really want to take this course and I want to do well, but I don't know if these unseen circumstances might happen. That's great. Of course, the faculty member is gonna help you. Most teachers are type B personalities. That's the helper sort of personality. So that of course, we're humans. We will help you. We will usually do as much as we can to help out an individual and ask for help. That's okay. Even things unrelated to school. I mean, I've had students come and tell me that they've been sexually assaulted, and because of my connections, I connected them up to receive the type of help they need. So it's these types of interactions. A faculty member is a good person to come to. I need a job. Do you know anybody who's hiring? Do you know anybody who works at the refinery? Do you know anybody at Pearl Harbor? I want to go to Pearl Harbor and work in the shipyard. So the faculty, I personally know I don't know anybody in the shipyard, but I know who to contact, who we can get you connected to the shipyard. So this type of thing. And the last point here, the faculty members are there. One of our jobs is to write letters of recommendation. So it's important that you have proper etiquette when you interact with them, and the proper etiquette in the classroom as well. So because we do take note of that. Actually, students are surprised, but we do know what's going on in the classroom. We know when you're playing video games and texting people. We can notice that. I mean, I remember I was teasing one of my students. She came to class and she was stuck on a book, and she was reading a book in class, and then the next class period I'm like, oh, so did you read any good books lately? She's like, you saw me? I'm like, yep, we see everything. So we do see quite a bit. So keep that in mind when you interact, and especially when you meet with them. So at the same time, be relaxed. So hopefully this makes you feel better, and when you approach a faculty member, this is the proper way to interact with them. So, hope this was a valuable lesson for you, and I wish you great success with your college career.